Hi Lola, this is Nani, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about your grandfather. You called him Papa, and he was quite an amazing soul. He was a wonderful artist and a very adventurous person, and after he passed away, we had a wonderful celebration of life for him. About 175 people came, and a few of them, only about 25 maybe, we recorded so they could tell little stories to you, tell them about your papa's life and what he was like and what kind of adventures he lived. So welcome to your grandfather's celebration of life.
Well, I had known Frank for about 5 or 6 years when I engaged him to put a wall sculpture in my office building that was being built. It fit into an alcove. It was 10 feet long and 8 feet high. And this sculpture that Frank made was about that thick of clay. It was a facing board or wall with a circle of glass in the center that when the front doors opened, the glass would light up from the light. And I knew that clay shrunk when it was fired. And I was just concerned about that because this was in an alcove. And there was only 8 feet, or 10 feet long and 8 feet high. And if it was 10 feet 4 inches long, we'd have to cut some off of it. Frank assured me, he says, "Oh, I know everything about this. Don't worry about it." So about 12, 14, 15, 16 years later, he introduced me as the first person to commission a work of art from him. And I said, "Frank, back when I was worried about the shrinkage, you said you'd done it many, many times." He said, "Oh, I had done it 1,000 times in my head." It fit perfect.
The Court family and the Colson family all came to Sarasota in the early 60s. And the Colsons were some of the first folks that we met. Frank and I were both art instructors, and I wanted to learn more about throwing and glazing, so of course I found Frank and joined a class along with several other people that will be here this evening. There was Ann Darling, there was Cynthia Critch, there was Linda Knapp, there was Jane Gross, and there were several other women mostly who were interested in improving their technique. Well, we would come always in our worst rags because when you throw pots you get very, very muddy. But one night we showed up in our worst rags expecting to get muddy, and Frank announced that we were all going to an art opening. So he piled us in his van and we went to the art opening. I can't even remember where it was now, except that it was somewhere downtown Sarasota. And of course we looked awful, but he said doesn't matter. So we got there and it was quite a gala affair with a band and fancy hors d'oeuvres and people serving. And Frank, as a gentleman should, danced with each one of us in turn all night long. Now the fact that we were so badly dressed was probably not noticed, because this after all was the time of the 60s and the hippies, and so we blended right in and we had a wonderful time. And I remember that as one of my most unusual pottery classes.
I've known Frank and Diana really since they first came to Sarasota in the early 50s. They really lived next door to where we lived on Brywell Circle, and we became pretty good friends at that time. And you know, Frank was always a champion and doing very well with his artwork, and Diana was doing very well with her work in art and being a teacher and so forth. And we used to get together all the time at the nursery and have big parties, and Frank was always the gentleman of the night, and it was really just a lovely time back in those eras of the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, and it was just a great time for everybody, and I'm glad to be included in this particular performance tonight, and that's it.
Hi, I'm Kenny DeCamp.
And I'm Lena Falco.
And I met Frank 10 years ago when he was on his third tour of the Fine Arts Society. And I got to be his publicity man for that, and he liked me so much, we did so much good work, he ended up hiring me. I took the salary and never took another nickel from him after that. We just worked together, became such close friends. I admire his energy and his art, and he was my Frankie boy, and I was Kenny man.
And I met Frank and Diana through my love, Kenny, when I came to visit them in Sarasota, and they were always so welcoming and warm to me. I fell in love with both of them instantly, and they had the opportunity to come and visit me in Chicago, suburbs of Chicago, and spend a beautiful week together and share the house and share all the energy of Chicago, which Frank truly loved and thanked me many, many times. So I'm so honored to be able to be here for this special day for him and definitely for Diana.
And Frank said a lot of times, he goes, yeah, we had a 3-week tour of Chicago in 1 week. Kenny knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Frankie boy,
This is for you.
You're the man, your art lives on.
Yes.
Hey Lola, this is Kevin. I just wanted to tell you how much we all love you. I know you're probably not going to see this for a while, but Dad has passed, and it's been a shock to me and a shock to Sean, and we miss him dearly. And we just want you to know that he loved you very, very much, and he really thought the world of you, and really has his hopes up high for you, for your future, and whatever happens, he wants the best for everything that you do in your life. We all love you, Lola, and you mean the world to us. You're all we got, and we're sending all our love to you. God bless you.
Hi, I'm Patricia Ross. I'm Frank's half-sister. We had the same father. And a memory I have of Frank was he was visiting us he did not grow up with us, with the family that his father had after he was born. But I remember his visiting us when he was about 10 and I was about 3. And he composed a song that I remember. And it went like this. I'm a little water bug. I just love to swim and swim, cross the pool and back again, dive and splash and swim again. I'm a little water bug. I just love to swim and swim. I thought he was a genius, a musical genius, an artist, and I was always impressed. And he became all of that. So, thank you.
Hi, I'm Frank's other half-sister, and I've known Frank for many years. I always wished he could have stayed with us and been my older brother, but that was not to be. And I do wish happy sailing in his new life. God bless Frank. Bye.
Hi, I'm Alex Korp. In this life, you meet a lot of unique people, but Frank was a uniquely unique personality. He will never be gone because he will never be forgotten. And while he may not always have taken himself seriously, I think he would have wanted us to.
Hi, this is Bobby.
And Ed.
Hamilton. And I've just known Frank for probably since the early 60s, when Diana and I began teaching music together at Southside Elementary School. And of course, the parties were always here. And I'll never forget Frank making the punch. And how the Halloween punch is that every single person brought some kind of liquor, and we just all poured it together in a big vat. And it was under kind of a fire, and we'd have this wild Halloween liquid. And then, of course, his wonderful, wonderful creativity as far as the Fine Arts Society was concerned. He was on the Fine Arts Creators and Collectors Tour for, I think, at least 3 times. Mm-hmm. And his smile, his fun. We always had birthday parties together because all the music teachers' husbands would have their birthday party at one time and the music teachers would have theirs at another. So it's been a long, long time knowing Frank and Diana. Ed has come in on the birthday party part of it.
Well, yes, I can only echo what Bobby said and add my memory of all the birthday parties with the former teachers and their spouses, which we had every year for, it's been for me about 18 years now.
And one of the most fun presents that Frank would do is he'd come out here in his house, pick up bamboo leaves that had fallen, or whatever you call them, and he would paint on those and make them birds and fish, and they were always our treasure to keep and sign them.
That would be his Christmas present to us.
Yes, and birthday. We always asked for it.
Yep.
And we're going to miss him. He's a super, super talented fellow, and thanks for letting us have a chance to speak about him.
Yes, indeed.
My name is Sandy McCourtney, and I represent myself and my husband Brad. We've known the Colsons since the 60s, and always memorable parties that Diane gave with her every new film that came out, and being at these amazing piñata parties here, and just wonderful films that we would have and parties we'd have. And one of the unique things that you might not hear from anybody else is that I received a Fulbright scholarship to Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. And I went ahead with the children, and then Brad was coming after me. And while I was in a hotel waiting to get my housing, I had my two sons and myself, and all of a sudden I got the hotel bill, and I didn't have enough cash on me to pay it. And I had these two little babies with me, and I was afraid to go out in the taxi and get money to pay the hotel bill. And it just so happened that Frank and Diana called me, and they said, "We're in Rio too, when can we hook up?" And I said, "My God, right now!" I need $200 to pay my hotel bill. Click. No, they rushed right over, and we took care of it. And then, of course, I paid the back. But wow, that was amazing to me. I actually was going through a little bit of culture shock and didn't realize it too, because sleeping wonderful little Sarasota versus Rio de Janeiro, it was like crazy. But anyway, we've known and loved both Frank and Diana ever since the 60s, and very, very special people. We admired both of their art. Sometimes my husband Brad photographed Frank's sculptures, and anyway, we had a wonderful relationship with them for many, many years, and miss him dearly. Thank you.
Okay, hello, I'm Muffy Hiss, and I met Frank in the 60s. I became a student of his in bronze casting. And then I went up to Penland and studied under him more, and knew the family for years. And then I went to London and had a bronze foundry, which he gave us all the information and we set up. So I've kept in touch with the family and known them for years. I've always enjoyed Frank's ideas and his great imagination. He's a wonderful person.
Hi, my name is Cindy Balistreri, used to be Cindy Lippert, and I wanted to share one of my memories about Frank and also about Diana. In 1970, when I was just 22, I did my intern teaching with Diana Colson at Southside Elementary, and I spent my life being an elementary music teacher with Diana. But my memory from that first October was attending an Oktoberfest party here, October 1970, and I had just gotten married, and I received a beautiful bowl made by Frank. And that's when I learned who Frank Colson was and what an amazing artist he is and was. And now I can see his whole wonderful career, and I just want to say, Frank, you will be missed, but what a great life you had. My best wishes.
My name is Robert Shenham, and Frank Colson was one of my oldest friends, and we sailed on his Hobie Cat together here, and we enjoyed scuba diving together in Key West, also in the Bahamas and some of the Caribbean islands. And Frank and Diana and myself and a lady friend went through a hurricane in 1980 in Jamaica. Jamaica was hit by directly by a hurricane. I don't remember the name, but we were there during the hurricane. And, we had a guest house up in mountain above Ocho Rios, and we weathered out the storm in a little laundry room where we had rum and cokes and enjoyed the whole evening.
Yes, hello, my name is Stacy Goes. I'm a very, very close dear friend of Diana Colson and Frank, and I'm here to say that this heart is being presented to Diana Colson today in honor of you, Frank, for asking me to design and develop glass art for you about 1.5 years ago. And with great pleasure, I'm so pleased to let you know that this is the first day, the whole week long, that my back has popped into whack and I can actually stand up straight today. Just for your party, Frank, just for your party. I'm so happy I'm out of intense pain today. It's absolutely incredible to be here. And so, in lieu of that, on this October 4th, 2015, I'm presenting this beautiful purple golden heart to your beautiful wife, Diana Colson.
Would you like to say something?
Oh, I want to say that Frank Colson gave me a very adventurous life. We really did a lot of extraordinary things. It was so much fun, but one of the most fun things was meeting Dennis Cowell.
Well, I knew Frank long before I actually knew you.
Yeah.
From years and years before Sarasota, and these two folks are a real force in Sarasota. And also a great family tradition being carried on as we talk.
Yes.
At this moment.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And Jill says she's sorry can't be here. She's in LA, but she sends her best too.
I know she does.
Lots
Thank
of love.
you. Well, Julie and I go back so far that I think, what were you, 7 or 11 when we first met? I can't remember.
Very small.
And
she taught me to cook. She taught me to dress. She loaned me her clothes. She told me that you're supposed to put makeup on very quickly, but I took a very long time. She is the diva and the queen of Sarasota.
And we had so many adventures, Frank, you and I and your mother and your parents and your sister, and oh wow, we had such a good time.
For Lola.
For Lola.
For Sean, for Marina, and for Kevin. We love you.
Okay, Lola, you won't see me by the time you watch this video, but I want you to know that you had 2 wonderful grandparents. Your grandfather was not only creatively talented, he had the strongest life force, and I hope he passed it on to you. And your mother was my writing partner, and she was a great writer, especially if you like a little hot romance. Anyway, Lola, remember them with love, because they deserve it, and they certainly have mine.
Oh.
Okay?
It's such a pleasure to be in the studio. This is my first time. It is such an example of Frank's talent. I'm truly overwhelmed. I miss him very much, but we know that he left such a legacy, and we love him, and we'll see him soon. My name is A.G. Spicola, and thank you.
Hi, I'm Boots Culberton, and I've known Frank for decades. My husband and I and 2 little kids moved here in the 60s, I think 66, and within 3 weeks I had met people who knew Frank and Frank wanted to do Apprentice, and I said, yeah, why not? We had a lot of things in common, gymnastics. We both played the piccolo, and I was going to be his apprentice in pottery. Well, I always blame things on Frank. I say, it's all your fault that I made it my career. And all the fun things that I've done, both with Frank and with my own studio. I taught at Frank's studio after apprenticing, and then finally built my own studio. And I just remember so many good things with Frank. He taught me, and he actually sent me to study occasionally with other potters, Karen Carnes and Marguerite Wildenhain and Hal Rieger, a whole lot of them. He had wonderful workshops at his studio, and I, of course, got to be the assistant, so I got to take those workshops too. So it really built my career and my education in pottery. I have many pieces of Frank's, and I've given him a lot of pieces, and we just have had a lot of fun. Our kids sort of grew up together. Our kids were just a little younger than Kevin and Sean, and so they've known each other for all these many years, and just can't say enough about how wonderful I think Frank and Diana and their whole family are, and have always been. And I guess I will close with that. I hope Frank is with us in spirit here. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joellen Silverstein, and my parents, Janet and Leon Silverstein, Jan Silverstein, were terrific close friends with Diana and Frank, and go back to the 1950s in Sarasota, establishing the art community here. And I've always been extremely fond of Diana and Frank, who have been incredibly, always sweet and wonderful and nice to me. And Frank even started to try and help me sculpting one time, not too long ago actually. And they just have always been the most gracious, lovely, delicious people, and every time I saw them, they always were very interested in what I was doing, and very kind and very gracious, and a heck of a lot of fun to be around. Just wonderful, wonderful people. So that's my take. Bye.
Hi, I'm Sheila Spicola, sort of like a 20-year friend of Frank and Diana's, and we have just loved them over the years. And I know Diana wants Lola to know about her grandfather, and I'll just tell Lola that your grandfather was a wonderful artist, but he was never puffed up. He was always lots of fun, and we're going to really miss him.
My name, Janet Baum, and I met Frank quite a while ago through the Fine Arts Society. And he came to a meeting. He joined after he was on our tour many times, and he came to our meeting, and we were sitting and everything was quiet, and the phone rang, and it sounded like a cow mooing, and I had to turn around because I burst into laughter, and it was Frank, and he just laughed. And he's a great guy. He was a great guy.
Hi, I'm Janet Hazen, friend of Frank and Diana for many years, more years than I like to admit. I have to quote a line from an old movie, The Big Chill. They throw a party for you on the one day they know you won't be there. So I'm sorry you didn't know your grandparents. They were wonderful people.
Hello, I'm Marla Laberton. When my husband and I came here from Europe, we met Frank and Diana, and I'm a sculptor, and Frank did a lot of castings for me, bronze casting, and he did a wonderful job, and we became such wonderful friends together with Diana, and we've known each other for 13 years, and it's always been a pleasure, and we think of Frank all the time when I look at my sculptures that are still around the house, and these are wonderful memories. Thank you.
I'm Connie McManus, and I loved Frank and Diana. Wonderful, fun people. From quite a ways back when I first came down to Sarasota in the early 1980s, and parties at Marvin Gross, and I had a St. Patrick's Day party where Frank was a leprechaun, and always there was fun. And Diana wrote her book, and we celebrated that too. And aside from their wonderful art talent, they were such fun party people, which I love. Anyway, hooray for both of them. Beautiful, lovely couple.
We are the Rollinis, and Shay and Art, and we've known the Colsons for about 40 years. Most talented tandem probably in the whole area. And she helped us do a play that we had written, and they're just wonderful people, and we'll miss Frank very much.
Diana was my art teacher when I was in elementary school.
Music or art?
Music
teacher, yes. Yeah, and our daughters too. So she took care of a lot of people, and so did Frank over the years. We'll miss them very much.
Well, here we are. Frank Colson, the great artist. My name is Chuck Sidlow, and this is my wife, Noriko. Frank always said he loved to laugh. He said he wanted everybody to laugh, and he invited us. I happen to be a circus clown. By the way, Frank, I know. I might look a little familiar. Everybody loved you. Everybody loves you. Everybody still loves you through your family and your art. And we want to say, we love you too, and your family. God bless.
Hi, my name is Roger Skidmore. My wife and I, Franklin, have lots of memories about Frank Colson, primarily because Frank had so many aspects of his life. We've known Frank and Diana for many years and have enjoyed dinners here and at our house. Things that really come to mind are Frank in his hats, Frank in his uniforms, but more importantly, Frank the person and the things he created. Both aspects of him were wonderful. His shows around town, his shows in Europe, his shows across America, his statues, his porcelains, his paintings, his ceramics, everywhere have really been a contribution to the world. In our experience, Frank is a true artist in the most truest sense. We have things in our house that he's given us. One party he came to, he gave us a snake. It's about this tall, purple, and hangs on our wall today. We just love Frank and everything he did.
Hi, I'm Betsy Dale, and I am remembering an evening, a Christmas evening, dinner at the Corpse House, and there were probably 12, 15 people at the table, and Frank drove us absolutely crazy because he was doing one of these things where you wet your finger and go around the rim of a glass and make all this noise, and we're trying to have a conversation, and he kept doing it, and we kept telling Frank to stop, stop, stop. And this went on, and there are many fond memories, but that one sticks out in my mind.
I'm Ann Darling, and I'm a potter in Sarasota, and I studied with Frank for a while, but my most interesting trip with Diana and Frank and Sean and Colson was to Canada, St. Andrews, New Brunswick. We had a wonderful time. We interviewed artists all the way across Canada, and Frank set up an art and nature center, which is still going on. And I think one of my notes to fame was teaching Sean how to tie his shoes.
My name is Ann Swain, and I'm so happy to be here tonight to talk about Frank and Diana. For myself and for my husband Tony, who can't be with us, they are remarkable people, have been good friends. We figured out for over 50 years, and we've just seen them in their wonderful personalities in their warmth and their friendliness. We've been so close, and yet it's hard to say goodbye to someone who you haven't seen for a while, but you always felt close to. A very gifted, talented man. Diana's extraordinary. Frank was extraordinary. It was our pleasure to be friends of theirs.
Diana, we just want to say what a privilege it has been to know you and Frank for nearly 20 years. We're going to miss him, not as much as you do, but it has been incredible. He was such a phenomenal Renaissance man and just covered the whole spectrum. Often I get tired just thinking about all of the things and all of the venues he had. Thank you.
And as we walk around our house and see the horses, we remember you.
Hi, I'm Carla O'Brien, and I was an apprentice of Frank's 30 years ago. I used to bring my daughter into his studio when she was 6 months old, and I would work with Frank, making his horses, his clay horses. Frank gave me a venue to do my clay love, and from there he mentored my business, which is Carla's Clay, which is now a thriving business in Sarasota County. He has been the backbone and inspiration for my life to go on with my art and to teach others how to do the clay. Frank and I have been friends for almost since the day I met the man. He's an incredible person. His wife Diana is a dear friend, and I love her dearly. And I will miss him so much because, well, he was the guy I'd go to. He was my go-to man for answers and questions about clay, how to build a business, how to market my business. Frank was innovative and he was a genius, and always nothing scared him. And these kids have just an incredible legacy in their path to live up to. So thank you for this opportunity. Love him, love you, Frank. See you soon.
How about you?
Hi, I'm Will Woodsmall. I'm Marge and Sam Morrison's son, and have known Frank for a lot of years. Remember when he used to Hobie Cat, when he kept the Hobie Cat out at Annie's and Sid's house, and what a sailor he was. The last time I really got a chance to see him was downtown 2 years ago when Mike Solomon had his opening, and we all missed him so much. And all my family just want to hug and bless everybody in his family, and we'll always miss him. And he was a very unique individual and very warm heart. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Elle Leonard. I just want to thank Frank for giving me the tools to do what I do today. I was his apprentice for 2 years. We had a very turbulent relationship, but I have always respected and loved Frank and the family, and I thank him today for everything that I'm able to do in the ceramic world. Much love to all the Colsons.
Bye-bye, Papa. We love you.
I love you, Dad. And let me tell you a little things I wrote about you, Dad. And it is with great sorrow I say goodbye to my father today. The last time I spoke to my father was in the hospital. We were able to say, I love you and goodbye to each other. I admired him and learned everything I could from art and sculpture to travel and adventure. I continue my life to remember everything he has taught and blessed me with. I am especially happy we had many close times together, and also he got to know his granddaughter, the sweet princess of Hungary, and know his granddaughter well. I have so many good memories of him, from creating art and pouring bronze sculpture to sailing and adventuring. He will be missed, but I know he will be busy in his new life creating new artwork somewhere else. Much love, Dad. And on another note, I would just like to say, Dad, thank you for giving me that wild soul of mine. Thank God I made it this far. You taught me how to pour bronze in the rain, how to dance and sing, and travel. Thank you. I love you.
Frank, you've been part of my life for 15 years, and we had many, many adventures together.
That was for Papa.
That's from Papa. She learned from you this one. But we love you, Frank, and we always remember the good times together. Much love.
Say something sweet about Papa, Lily.
Say bye-bye, Papa.
Bye-bye, Papa.
Okay, that was good.
Actually, I didn't even see my two sons.
I'm so happy to be here. Frank really inspired me about his art. Till this moment now, I believe that his death was embracing light into the world, and he is very inspiring to me. He helped me and inspired me in many ways in art. I'm so thankful to know him.
I would like to say thank you very much for everybody who is here, and of course we celebrating life, and of course we love you, Frank, and your wife Diana, and thank you very much for being with you when you're alive, and we still love you, and we will remember you all the time, and you're so much help to my daughter Maria, who is try painting a lot, and I know how we was good together, and we try play something with clay, and what I have to say, I'm happy to be here, and thank you.
He's coming through.
That's a long time.
Pleasure meeting you. Something else.
I've been singing in the dead of the night. Would you take these broken wings and learn to fly?